A warm welcome, everyone, for today's session on homeopathic legends. Indeed, it's an inspiring and most awaited session with Dr. Gaurang Gaikwad. And without much of a delay, I would like to invite Dr. Gaurang to take over the session.
Okay, so welcome to the talk today, everyone. And I want to first of all thank Dr. Sankaran sir for agreeing to be part of this talk, and it's a very special thing for me and for all of us. Thank you, sir. So for a lot of us, sir, and we could begin our talk. For a lot of us, lot of students and your patients, a lot of people who are inspired by you, we always were very intrigued by knowing the man behind this huge success that you are, this huge legend that you are. And we always wanted to know the real you and how you actually perceive life. And so maybe we actually wanted to know right from the beginning, how were you as a youngster, as a young boy of about 10, 12-year old, and what were your aspirations? Your father was one of the legendary homeopaths of India. How was it for you? Your earliest memories?
So thank you, Gaurang, for starting this series. And I think your aim. Would you like to tell what is your aim of doing this?
Okay, basically my aim of doing this series is actually inviting a lot of inspirational homeopaths like Dr. Sankaran, Dr. Sarkar, maybe homeopaths all across the world, the best ones, and trying to really know what are the main qualities that are needed to be successful, and how do they live their life, and how we can learn some life lessons from all of them. I think that would be somewhere the main idea behind this for me, and that's why I approached you.
Yeah, because when I know what your aim is, so I can, direct my talk in that direction rather than telling all kinds of details about, what kind of mischief I did as a child and all of these uninspirational stories, I would say. So, yeah. So, I would like to, begin the story basically with my father, because my father was born in very, very poor circumstances. And he saw very hard times. In fact, he couldn't afford his school fees also. And he had like 10 siblings, and his father was just a stenotypist and couldn't afford, and that father died also very early, leaving the family in a very abject circumstances. So my father actually he told me one time that he was so hungry and there was no food to eat for days together, that he actually decided to commit suicide. And when he was about to do that, he got a letter from his mother saying that, the family is looking to you, that you will do something and you will support all of us. So that gave him a sense of purpose in his life. And then he put all his effort into, doing something good, becoming something, and supporting his family. And he was a man who always wanted to grow, do something very, very valuable and learn something and do very ethically also, not just, make money or something like that, but really. And he was very sick at some point, and many treatment couldn't help him. So ultimately somebody told him, go to the homeopath, and he didn't know what is homeopathy. So he went to some homeopath, and that homeopath asked him all kinds of questions which he couldn't understand the relevance. And then he said, okay, take this pudi. And he said, how much does this cost? And that homeopath said, like 5 paise or something. And he said, how often I have to take it? He said, just once, that's it. And my father said, what a stupid guy. I have been to like 20 specialists. And you see, this guy is giving me a 5 paise ka pudi, and he expects me to get better, or what is it? But he said, anyway, for the sake of just taking it, he took it. And he said he felt that night as if his blood was replaced by fresh blood, and his life was replaced by a fresh life. And that, sparked his interest in homeopathy. And he said, this is a system that I'm going to study, I'm going to master, I'm going to practice, and I'm going to contribute. And then from that moment on, he completely devoted himself. He found his purpose, he found his goal, a system of treatment that could make him all right in a single night, what modern medicine, or in those times medicine, couldn't do for months. And he said, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. And from that time, he just devoted himself. So, what he learned and what he taught me right from the beginning, he said, this sense of purpose, this sense of goal, this sense of, becoming useful, and this sense of doing something rather than just enjoying or earning or, having pleasure or all this. And he said to me, the greatest joy that anyone can ever find is the joy of doing your work to the best of your ability. And when you do that, he said to me, you will shine wherever you are, because you have put your complete potential into that. And he said, this is the joy of living. This is the pleasure. And I think this lesson really went deep inside me, because I could see the truth of it. You see, it's not on the day that I go to a restaurant or I watch, Sachin Tendulkar hit a century. This is not the day I feel happy. I feel happy the day when I have done the best of my work, when I have found something new, when I have, treated a case to my ability. It's not necessarily that that patient will get better and I'll be happy. It's when I did my best, when I took one more step than where I was, when I evolved in any direction, you see. And that day I was the happiest, not the day I earned the maximum money or I got the greatest appreciation or, 10 patients got better. This was not my happy day. The happy day was when I got a little better than what I was yesterday, when I saw something that made a progress in me in any direction. And from that moment on, when I learned this lesson, I kind of shut out almost everything in my life, going out, movies, novels, watching cricket matches, In those times, we didn't have, WhatsApp and internet and all of that stuff. Luckily, I think, I don't know, but we were kind of secure from all the modern distractions, but yet there were enough distractions at that time also. But somehow I felt, no, I want to be really, really the best of what I can be, not best of the better than other people, but best of what I can be. And I will be the best I can be. And if I can be that, I will be happy. So I put every ounce of my energy, time, and into just developing my own knowledge, my skill, and also later on to do some kind of research to advance what the science itself is, because only like this science can grow. You see, if Kent didn't make his repertory, or Bonninghausen didn't give the theory of generalization, or something else, where would we be? Where would we be without software? If David Walkentin didn't create Mac repertory and reference work software, where would we be? If he didn't create reference works, such an amazing tool, if he didn't create that, we would be lost. So the science is on the shoulders of these people who take it forward. I said, yes, I will also, do my best, because you see, nobody gets 100% success, and the failures tell us that there is always scope to improve. And the joy that it gave me, this kind of making this advance, discovering, the joy of discovery of delusion level, of sensation, of kingdoms, of miasms, of 7 levels, 8 boxes, subclasses, and the plant kingdom. It was, each one was a absolute joy, and I enjoy this so much more than uh, going out. And I do that, of course. I go once in a while and I eat something. I like pani puri, I like South Indian thali, and I go there once in a while. But I don't normally watch movies. I don't normally party. I don't normally chit chat. I don't forward WhatsApp messages to everybody. I don't really care what the politicians are talking. It's not my, I mean, what I cannot change, I don't bother. What I can do, some people, they say like this, they say, do you watch, matches? And my favorite answer to them is, I said, the day Sachin Tendulkar attends my seminar, I will watch his matches. Why he doesn't attend my seminar? That's the reason he became a cricketer. And I heard one day in his interview, his wife was saying, I think, that this guy gets up at night and sees the ball coming towards him, and he's playing cricket at night also, you see. So if that's the kind of, focus that is there, then he could become who he could become. He could rise to his potential. And you see, he became who he became. So I want to become who I can become. And I'm not going to watch other people, I'm not going to go there. It's like saying, I went and watched Shah Rukh Khan, romance a beautiful girl in the movie, and I'm watching and I'm enjoying. But what's the fun, I should be romancing somebody myself, I should. Why should I get pleasure watching Sachin Tendulkar make a century? I should be making my century. This is how I think. I don't want to be a spectator to other people.
Exactly.
I want to be an actor, not a spectator. I want to be a doer, not a watcher of other people's things, and go to sleep. So, the idea is, you have a choice in life. Either you can be average and you can live your life and you can eat, drink, little bit, work, whatever, avoid what you can, and all these things. And even in this lockdown, a lot of people, I believe, put on a lot of weight because they didn't know what to do. They just ate and drank and troubled their family, had a lot of quarrels, and went to sleep. It's okay. But that's not what I want to be. I have no problems with them. They are okay. But I think this series is about inspiring people to go from that kind of average mediocrity into excellence, into extraordinary beings also.
Absolutely.
So that's so I think I spoke too much. This is like lachesis. Loquacities. I think people must be finding my remedy already. They must be looking in the repertories to see what kind of loquacity and all of this, you know. If you want, I'll tell you the rubrics also. There's a rubric, loquacity self-satisfied, you know, you can read it.
All right. The other thing that intrigues me about you initially is about Dr. P. Sankaran and a lot of your early mentors, including Dr. Kanjilal, Dr. Phatak, Dr. Bolanath Chakravarti, and I think Dr. Bhanu Desai also, if I'm not wrong. So when you met them and you were young that time, and what were the qualities in them?
Gaurang, I don't like when you said you were young that time, please. This is totally unfair, unjust, and I don't accept it because I'm young now also.
You are absolutely young.
Yeah. Good, very good.
So I would say at that age,
Yeah.
what were the qualities in them that you could imbibe, and what was inspiring about them? Because many of us actually don't know them we know their cases, but we don't know the real them. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about them, and at that age, what inspired you about them? Because I believe you're a kind of a link.
You know, the people who inspired me the most had a certain set of qualities that I can, you know, enumerate. And this was common to all of these people. This is interesting that all these people whom I highly respected and I was inspired by had a kind of similarity of qualities. One of that qualities was humility. You know, they were ready to learn from people half their age, including me, some of them, you know. I remember one of my really senior teachers, he came to one seminar of mine and he said to me, you know, Rajan, your seminar is so good. I wish I was younger so that I could have learnt from you. Now, I'm not saying this to put myself up, but to put the other person up. What kind of humility? I bow to that person and I say, sir, I wish I had your humility, even a fraction of that. You know, this is one attitude, this humility, and that kept them young actually, and always they were learning and from everybody. Another quality is very high sense of ethics. These people would not do anything even remotely wrong, remotely dishonest, remotely self, for the self and, cheating or this kind of, so ethical they were. And third, of course, was their total devotion to their purpose, to their patients, to the science, and therefore a lot of hard work. And these are the kind of qualities that I saw in all of these people. And there are many more. And another quality was they were usually quite funny, quite humorous. And they usually made jokes on themselves, you see. And so that sense of, reflection of their own selves and how funny they are, how, just making fun of themselves was really, really good. And they could make fun of other people. I mean, I can tell you an incident, once we were in a homeopathic seminar. I was a very young, very small boy. I was maybe 12, 15 years old. My father took me along and we attended a scientific session. He organized these sessions, very scientific sessions where all the homeopaths came and discussed the important topics, you see. And Dr. Kanjilal of Calcutta, very, very great man, very great homeopath, very amazing human being. But he had a very strong Bengali accent, when he spoke English. It was a very strong Bengali, sometimes a little difficult to hear also, understand. So he gave a speech, and it sounded something like hop, 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 hop. It was like this, it was not very clear. I am exaggerating, but it was like this. So
we'll edit this part.
And then after that, my father had to speak after him. And he said, we thank Dr. Kanjilal for his amazing speech. I only wish that it was in English and not in Bengali, And Kanjila laughed so much, ha, 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 ha. So this kind of humor and fun and this good natured, and it was an amazing time for homeopathy. There was Diwan Harishchand, Jugal Kishore, Kanjilal, D.P. Rastogi, Chakravarti, S.P. Gopikar, Sarabai Kapadia, Patak. These were all luminaries, giants, totally devoted to homeopathy. It's unbelievable how devoted they were. And when they met, and they used to meet, they didn't wear any suit and boot and coat, and very simple, all of them very simple. And you see, and when they met, it was just discussing homeopathy, sharing their experience, not showing each other big or strong or small, or putting people down, just sharing. It was an amazing time. I wish that we can recreate that again. So I was going with my father all these places, meeting all these people, and after he died, I made contact with all of them, and they took me into their arms, and treated me like their son. But more than the knowledge and information that I got from them, it was this kind of, inspiration to be humble, to be open, to be funny to yourself, to work very hard, to be devoted to the science, to the patients, and above all, to be ethical beyond beyond imagination. They cannot do anything even slightly wrong. This is, I mean, when you see, some people, today also we have people like that, and I respect them a lot. I know that there are people like this today also. I mean, there are, and I keep company of all these people. I'm the only bad guy in this kind of company. All are very good people. But I keep the bad ones out, please. I put a sign in my clinic and in my t-shirt also. Bad people stay out. And what do I mean by bad people? It's not dividing good and bad, because everybody is okay actually, and everybody has good in them. But the deeper intention, the deeper um, sense of ethic that sometimes it is missing in some people. And and you feel, oh, his intention is not that pure. There is something behind, hidden agendas and egos and competitions and all of this money making thing. And you say, no, I don't want to be in this kind of energy. And I stay out of it. I really stay. I don't have any bad things about. They are nice people. They are doing great work, amazing, good people. But that somehow, that frequency which I'm used to with these luminaries, it doesn't match. And I stay out of their company somehow.
Yeah. So in your life, when was that moment when you actually were like sure that you've got your path, or you got your laksh, you got the direction? Any particular incident, any particular situation where you just knew that you're born to do this homeopathy? When did you kind of and this is in relation to a lot of us as well, when we come to know that no, this is the thing, this is what you're born to do, this is your calling in that direction.
Well, I can't define a particular moment like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say it in two ways. Initially, I wanted to be a lawyer. I was very influenced by reading books of an author called Earl Stanley Gardner. Perry Mason, he used to write, and I was very fond of Perry Mason and Della Street and Paul Drake and all these characters. And I always fantasized to be a kind of a lawyer. I was also deeply influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay. And I wanted to be a social worker. I wanted to actually do a padayatra of the whole country and bring social reform, not political, but social. And he was a kind of ideal for me. And so there were many thoughts like this, you see, but mainly these two. But, my father, when I told him I want to do like this, he said, yes, yes, you must. But before you do, first go to a courtroom and see how it is, you experience there. So I went to the High Court and sat there for a week. I didn't want to be lawyer anymore. It was terrible. It was terrible because your skill and your talent was not the determining factor in a court. There were hundreds of other factors. Witnesses were brought, cases were adjourned, justice was given after 25 years. I mean, you were dependent on a system that was not, dependent on your skill and talent at all. And the other thing, social reform, I was not somehow that sure also whether I could do it. And at that point, somehow I started to see that, I went to the clinic and I saw many patients get better with my father, and the gratitude and the respect that they gave him. And when he walked into, any social gathering or even a professional gathering or even the kind of, gratitude that he got, I said, yes, this is something that can help people. And instinctively, I liked homeopathy because of what it is. Because I'm inclined towards a few things, my mind is very right-sided mind, which means I think more artistically, I think more philosophically, more conceptually, more spiritually, and less factually. And, for example, I think most modern medicine is left-sided thinking. Diagnosis, investigations, what is your blood count, what is your rheumatoid factor, what is this, what is that, what is the dosage, what not. It's very, very left-sided thinking, usually. I mean, and homeopathy has a strong, conceptual, spiritual, artistic understanding of the human being. And I was very interested in this from the beginning, from a childhood. If you ask me, if I was not a homeopath, what I would be a musician, or I would be a writer, or I would be a spiritual seeker, or a meditator. So these are my, inclinations. So it's very difficult for me to think on facts and multiplication. Mathematics was horror for me, it was similarly physics and chemistry and all of that was terrible. But I like literature, I like poetry, I like music. So somehow homeopathy appealed to me. And especially after the death of my father, I felt this is what I have to do. I have to do it, and I enjoy it. And why I enjoy it? Because through homeopathy, I see life itself. It is the glasses through which I see life. When Hahnemann talks about, case taking, I don't see it as case taking. I see it as observation of life, unprejudiced observation. And when we talk about the kingdoms, we are talking about zoology and botany and, chemistry and all of this, and psychology and sociology and music. It's all homeopathy for me. So in fact, I don't even honestly to see myself as a homeopath, I see myself as an observer. That is who I am. Basically, I'm not a homeopath even. I'm just a watcher of phenomena. Myself, my own phenomena, and what phenomena I can watch in front of me. That's what I do 24 hours. I just watch, and watch more. And that really is what is most appealing. So I can't tell you one date or one incident that made me sure, but I just got into it, and I felt so home with it, How do you know that this is your purpose in life, Is when you feel at home, when you feel, yes, this is it. I don't want to go anywhere else. This is what I enjoy. This is what I like. And yes, it's like coming home, And yeah.
So, sir,
Am I talking too much, you think?
You're perfect. This is
very good.
Perfect. So, sir, in this journey of yours, right, initially till even now, I'm sure there must have been certain blocks, some failures, some situations where you haven't succeeded as well as you could, or certain kind of failures. How did you take failures initially, and even later on, and even now? And what was your whole reactions to it? How did you take failure and disappointments with the idea of your career, or all these aspects? Because this will be important for us to know, because we fail so often in cases, in life, in so many things. We'd like to know how you dealt with it in that direction.
Well, of course, failures can be of many types. For example, failures in cases, when you don't succeed, or failure in progress also, when others are going ahead, but you are not able to go ahead. Something is stopping you. So these things definitely cause, a depression, and it causes sadness, and it causes a sense of despair and hopelessness and all of these things, because I'm human also and I feel all these feelings. But what I do with them is I sometimes see them as an opportunity to grow further, you see, and to see what I can learn from it and how I can, move on from there. And I use very often, I use this as an opportunity. For example, if I failed in a case very badly, that means that something I didn't understand, that something I have to understand. So I try my best to, work with that case again and again and again. And if I still fail, refer it to a colleague and to see how he does it. And by this process, this failure case becomes my learning process. Because if I was succeeding all the time, I would be exactly where I was 30 years ago, right? It's only because of the failures that I am where I am today. So in that sense, I use every failure and every disappointment. Initially, there is a sense of, oh my God. But then very soon, I say now, it's how, and many times it works out even better, it works out much better because of that, For example, this Corona story with the lockdown and all. Now, I had so many plans, I had to go to Germany, I had to go to Switzerland, my tickets were booked, I was having a big seminar in Brazil and all of that, and suddenly lockdown, I think they should call it lock up rather than lockdown. This is my, it feels more like a lockup than a lockdown, you see. So what to do, you see? Then initially you feel, oh shit, what is this lock up, lockdown? What do I do? And then I realized that this is such a great opportunity. First of all, to improve your health, because all the restaurants are closed. It's a very good opportunity to eat the right food, to remain, do intermittent fasting, to do vegan food, do intermittent fasting, because you are at home, you can afford to be hungry, you can afford to eat when you want and not eat when you want. And then it's a good time to exercise, because you are saving a lot of time traveling. So why don't we use that for exercise? So I do 1.5, 2 hours exercise a day. And I lost some weight and I feel fit, my parameters of health are so much better. And then what to do? We organize the webinars, you see. And now instead of speaking to 50 people or 100 people, I speak to 2,000 people. I mean, what? It worked out. You see, it worked out so much better. I'm going to request them to lock up a little bit more also.
Let's not go there.
So what I'm trying to say is, whatever it is, use that as an opportunity. Don't see anything as a problem. Everything comes as an opportunity on your door. And everything is an opportunity to get better and better and better. This is the way I see it, and it has worked very nicely for me. I can give many examples, but I think one is sufficient.
The other thing that is very, very interesting and intriguing and learning, which I also see because I am also associated learning with you, is a strong friendship or bonds that you have or associations that you have with really inspirational people, right from, you told me in the beginning, with Dr. Jayesha sir, later on with a lot of your friends from Europe, uh, the German homeopaths, and even, for example, even recently with someone like Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, the kind of bonds and the association you have. Do you think this kind of association with like-minded people also inspire human beings, us, and you think it can make us go to the next level or something like that? What are the role these people also play in life?
Definitely, definitely, definitely. No doubt about it. This in India, we call it satsang, you know. Satsang means to be in the company of the right people, of the sat, you know, of the true people. And you have to really very carefully choose these people, or they have to choose you. And I think it's something divine also. It's not artificial. It's something that can happen. And when I see somebody, you know, of a similar frequency as me, and with that sense of ethics, and with that sense of intention, with the purity of purpose, and with the openness to, you know, see what there is and to observe and not judge, not to have opinions of people, but just to see and to share what is going on inside and what is going on outside, without saying this guy is good and that guy is bad and I want this, and no, 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 no. I don't know anything. Let us watch. Let us watch together. Let us share what we see. And this kind of association I have with a handful of people, not too many, but I have maybe 8, 9 people or 10 people in the whole world, and they have been with me for 30 years, you know, 30, 40 years. Jayesh is one of the first like that, you know, and then, you know, people like Misha and people like, you know, all Reena and all of these people, you know, Laurie and, you know, all of these people, Mike, I have quite a few, you know, and this is a very deep, deep connection, a very, very deep connection where we can be completely open with each other. And it's not just about talking, it's about sharing, it's about seeing together what life is all about, and without any judgment. And also, it's also very funny. We laugh a lot when we meet each other. We laugh a lot about ourselves and about everything else, but we don't make fun of anyone, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. This has been the greatest, you see, treasure of my life. One of the greatest treasure, to have people like this, and I highly recommend that you and like that, you know. And I want to tell a little story about Misha, that you know, when I met him the first time, it was in 1986. We were in a conference. I was invited in Loughborough in England to speak. I was very surprised. I was very young at that time. And I had heard of Misha. So, you know, when I went there, he had given a talk, which is called Mappa Mundi, which had to do with, you know, the fire, air, water, all these things, you know. And I was not used to that, you see. I didn't fully understand what he was talking, and I didn't believe it. I didn't believe in bringing a different paradigm, a different dimension into homeopathy. You see, I don't want to bring fire, air, water, or chakras, or astrology into homeopathy. I don't like it instinctively. So he spoke about it, and I went to in the break, and I said to him, first time I met him, you see, and I said, Misha, you know, I heard so much about you and I was eager to listen to you, but what complete nonsense have you spoken? This is my first sentence. What complete nonsense have you spoken? And he looked straight in my eye and he said, you know, Rajan, it may be nonsense for you, but it makes sense to me. I think it was that moment I fell in love with him. And that bond is still on, you know, deep, deep, deep.
Yes. Yeah.
You see? So this is the kind of person I want to be friend with. If he had been very, oh, what do you mean nonsense? He was not going to be my friend. It was like this. I don't know. I can't describe this better. But
Yeah.
it's when you are able to be honest with somebody, and when that person is able to take your point of view and respond with a sense of maturity, that's the one I want to be with. So I don't recommend that all of you go out and start to tell people, don't learn the wrong lesson from me. Oh, sir said. So to find a friend, I have to go in the bus stop and look at the guy and say, what nonsense you are. You will need arnica, 1M, 10M. Don't do it. You have to feel that thing first, instinctively you feel that this is the person with whom you can speak like that. You feel it and then you speak it. And I have made like this few friends instinctively, and it has worked for me very nicely.
And sir, in this journey also, there is a lot of, because you always evolved yourself and always came up with newer evolution. So my question is two-pronged. One is, what makes you go, every 2-3 years we see you evolve, go to the next level, come up with a new concept. How do you do that? Or how do you evolve yourself? And my next question also, which is connected to it, is then how do you deal with the criticism that goes along with it? There is a lot of people who follow you, but there is always the other side who may not be so this thing about it, maybe critical towards you. How do you deal with this? So much of criticism. How does one deal with it? So this question is two-pronged. I'm trying to keep it a little soft.
Which prong I should start with?
The first one, sir, the evolution. How do you? The question was that, every 2-3 years we see an evolution in your concept and your analysis, right? If we study in last 20 years of your literature. So how does this happen? How does your brain mapping exactly work? What is the...
Well, evolution is a natural process, isn't it? So basically, you start with, you work with something, and then you start to see deeper and deeper. And when cases come, and especially cases which are not working well, which are not successful, then you feel the need that there is something deeper than this. Because if this was the deepest level, every case should succeed. And then you start to see what can be deeper than this. So I started with the idea of mind state, then it went to that delusion is the main, thing that decides how you see and react, your perception. Then below that, I came to sensation, and then to the energy, then to the 7 levels. And then how to reach there. You see, there was a block because you asked the patient, what do you experience? What do you experience? What do you feel? What do you feel? They get irritated also. And sometimes it doesn't go anywhere. How to make it go? Then we discovered the WISE process. You show them a picture and say, just describe what is happening to this person in the picture, not to you, to that person. And then it was easier because they could dissociate and they could project everything that they felt onto that person. So that was another step. So like this, difficulties is what make you go deeper and deeper. And the curiosity, the inquisitiveness, what connects one family to the other family, one remedy to another remedy, what could be common here, what not. It's a constant inquisitiveness, a constant search. It's never going to stop. My lifetime is very small. It's going to go on and on because this is the basis of human being. That's the main difference between a human being and other life forms. You see, the lion does exactly the same thing what it did 5,000 years ago. But we don't. Even technology, how fast it moves, everything evolves. You have 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, you see. Everything is evolving. So we have art evolves, science evolves, everything evolves. So it's up to us also to keep this movement going, and it's natural. How can we stop? How can we stop?
So the question
doesn't stop. My mind doesn't stop. It wants to know the next step and the next step and the next step all the time. And then you try it out in practice. You test it out. Then you tell your close colleagues, they test it out. And when you are sufficiently sure of something, then you release it to the world. This is the process. I used to call Jayesh up at midnight. Jayesh, I found something, Eureka, you know. Luckily, I didn't run out naked on the streets like Archimedes. But I mean, it was close enough, I would say. Jayesh, and said, yes, what is it? And I said, I found this thing, that thing, that thing. So, okay, I will check it out. And tomorrow then he will try in his practice. I will try. Then somebody else will try, you know. And then we are sure, we share cases, we work with it. It's not that I went in a shower and I came out with an idea and published it in a book. I never did this. Because that was not the aim. The aim was never to write a book in order to write a book. It was always to write a book to share an idea that would help people. And yes, so that's what I did. And then, of course, a lot of criticism came my way. And also, you see, more than criticism, there was also attack and there was also abuse and false allegations also. Sometimes. A very respected homeopath said that I was a spy of the allopathic pharmaceutical company and that I was being paid money in my Swiss bank account, which I wish I have, but I don't. I wish his allegation was true, but unfortunately it's not true. I wanted to ask him, can you tell me the number of my bank account, you know? You know so much about me, tell me my bank account number, but I didn't write to him. So you see these kind of allegations also. And he said, I've been posted in homeopathy by a pharmaceutical company to destroy homeopathy. So, you know, first of all, it created some fear or panic of what people will think. Maybe they'll believe him because he's such a respected figure. But then I have good friends and I had an advisor, a guide, a guru at that time called Dr. Rohit Mehta. And he used to come to my clinic. He was 80 years old and he would come to my clinic to, you know, consult me on his patients. That was his humility. Was a great man he was. And he told me, you know, he said, you know, you focus on your path and let everybody do what they want. You see, you question yourself. You see, are you true to yourself? Are you true? Are you pure? Is your intention good? If it is good, don't bother what others are saying. And then he sang me a song of Kabir, which says, you know, the elephant walks its own path, the dogs keep barking on the side, you know. And when he sang this song, then I felt so much better. And I could say, okay, I'm going to stay with what I believe and let people say what they want. And this policy has stood me in very good stead.
The other thing that also is interesting is that with so much of success, which you're one of the leading homeopaths in the world. How does one remain so humble and remain so much of humility within you? And this is where the question which is attached to it is, how did the spiritual being within you get evolved? Because you're also very spiritually inclined in your talks, even in your works. So, because for a lot of our homeopaths, even myself, we would like to know, how did you evolve in this direction? Does this help you deal with your state or things like that?
You see, spiritual orientation and spiritual thinking is one of the strongest pillars of my life. This is what keeps me who I am. You see, it keeps me centered in myself. And what is this spiritual orientation? It is just, you know, looking at yourself from a distance. Suppose, you know, you were given a ticket to the moon and you went on the moon and tried to look at yourself here, you know, or how small are you? Can you even see yourself? And for how much time are you really there compared to time itself, you know? You're just a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a moment of time, and space, You come and you go, and everybody comes and goes. Can you accept that? Can you accept that this is your true reality? That what the bigness you think you are, the importance that you give yourself is all very, very temporary, very, very impermanent. It just disappears. You're going to disappear in a fraction of a moment, and they are going to call you the body and forget about you. You see? So if you can keep that reality of your impermanence constantly in you, then you're able to see yourself in a larger context, not as an individual, but as a part of creation. That you are not I, but you are all of that. You see, you are like an apple tree, you are like a river, you are like a cloud, you are like a crow. Like that, you are this, you are part of creation. And that thought, that attitude should keep you humble, and not I. All this I is going to disappear in no time, just in a fraction of a moment. So live your life fully, but know that it's a drama, it's going to end. If an actor in a drama takes his role too seriously, and then there was there was one incident, this one guy, I think Arun Govil or somebody like that, he used to play the part of Ram, this in Ramayana. I think it was some I forgot the name actually. He was a Ram in that serial, all the time Ram, Ram, Ram he was. Okay. And when he would go out, people would fall at his feet and say, hey Ram, hey Ram. That guy was given the role of one teenage villain in another movie, and he started smoking. He was almost killed for that, you see. Because people could not see him in another role, you see. So if an actor takes his role to be who he is, then it's not going to work. He must know he's playing the role, but he knows it's not the role. This is the attitude we should have. We should play our role perfectly, but know that I am not this role. I am the pure being that has taken this role for this time being. Consciousness has shaped me into this for this lifetime. That's all. And consciousness will take me back. Kabir said in that very famous doha of his, he says, Mati kahe kumar se tu kya roonde moi, ek din aisa aayega main roondungi toi. You see the earth, it tells the man, oh man, you think you are making a shape out of me. One day it will happen that you will dissolve into me. So who is doing what, Like this orientation followed by meditative practice is a very, very strong centering. And this is what I do every day, almost all the time. I'm watching myself and not getting too attached to this external persona of mine. And when I go for a walk and when I exercise, my mind is constantly in silence, you see, and watching. And that centers me a lot. And that's one of the big assets of my life.
And sir, you don many hats. You're seeing patients, you're writing.
I don't wear a hat, Gaurang. never in my life. I'll tell you a joke. One patient says, I get angry at the drop of a hat. So I said, don't wear a hat. You will never get angry. But they don't understand, you see. So, okay, I've donned many hats. Okay.
You are doing so many things, we see this. You're seeing so many difficult patients. You're writing books. There is work on research happening. You're teaching. You're associate with other song. You do seminars. You have a family also. You have children. so for a person like
You didn't mention the illegal things also, the below the table things.
so this is all family audience, no? So I just
Okay.
but the idea that I want to learn from you and all of us also is how do you manage everything and also have a balanced life where you also take care of your own health. I see you take care of your health very well, your time for exercise, your diet, also taking care of your family, your children. I see the way you inspire your children also. It's just how do you do everything together? Because for us, even handling one or two of it is not easy.
Well, honestly speaking, or at a practical level, I divide my time, isn't it? I structure time so that everything gets done, So there is time for exercise, there is time for work, there is time for music, there is time. So everything is very well structured in my life. Even though I'm not a mineral remedy, unfortunately, but still the structure is there. And the other thing, of course, is I don't feel that I am doing anything actually. It simply things get done by me, done through me in some sense. So I don't take a strain about it. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It just happens naturally. I like it, I do it, I move on, I do the next thing. I don't think, oh my God, today I've done so much. I never sit back and think like this. If you ask me, what did you do in the morning? I have no idea because I did what I did and it was gone, you see. So I don't take it too strenuously or very stressfully anything. I just keep doing. And also the other thing is I like to make the to-do list, whatever I think of, I put it on a list that this I have to do. And whenever I have time, I look at it, I get it done. And of course, the other thing, very important, Gaurang, and you know this very well, is that I have a lot of people who support me and help me. Like you are one of them. And there are so many others, there is Meghna is there, Shiti is there, the other song residents are there, Sara is there. So many people across, the world, they support. Paresh is there supporting with the Synergy software. Haresh is there supporting with my publications. So it is because of all these guardian angels of mine that I'm able to accomplish so much. And I really very grateful to all of you, without which I couldn't have done much. I have a lot of support. And I think that these are very nice people and they also understand my intention a little bit. And that's one of the reasons they also support me.
So we are going to come a little bit towards the end of our talk because we are reaching our towards the end. So sir, this question is about, I'm getting a lot of SMSs and on the chat show, a lot of questions. We cannot answer all of them here. But if I have to ask you, sir, today, if you have to give a genuine advice to a 25, 30-year-old Rajan Sankaran at that age, what would you tell him and why?
I'm not a good one for giving advice, I don't know what to say, When Mahatma Gandhi, at some point, he was asked, what is your message to the world? He said, my life is my message. So whatever even for my children, I don't give them, sermons or messages or advice because anyway, they are not going to listen. But yes, and usually they'll do the opposite. So I don't tell them anything. But it's just by being who I am, and they are seeing who I am. That is the best message I can give, right? What more message can I give? Just see who I am and see what part of me you can take, and that what inspires you. I'm not perfect. Don't say imitate me, but take something from me, I take something from everyone. I take something from every single person that I meet. I appreciate. So you see who I am, what I shared a lot of things. You see how it is. And at the end, I would like to say, you know, many of my experiences I have written in my book called Dog, Yogi, Banyan Tree. And I think this book I wrote mainly to share, you know, my uh, important moments, important people, important events that shaped my life and that took me forward. So this is a book I would recommend that you can read, and it will help you more.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just before we end, sir, and thank you so much for your time and giving us time to really give us some life lessons.
Somebody is asking which book, so I would like to repeat the name again.
Yes, sure.
It's Dog, like Kutta, you know, the dog, Yogi, like a yogi, and Banyan Tree. Dog, Yogi, Banyan Tree.
We'll type it
And
down.
yes, and it is available on Amazon also, and it is available in homeopathic medical publishers also.
So, sir, so I was telling you that really grateful for giving us this time where we could really know the real you and the inspirational story behind you. There is a big public demand that they want to hear a small bhajan that comes to your mind at this moment before we finish for today. There's a lot of demand for that. And from me also, obviously. But there's a lot of demand of a lot of people, 2,000 people or more.
I'll sing the bhajan that Rohit Bhai sang for me, which he says, you know, the elephant walks its own path and let the dogs bark what they want. And actually, it took me 20 years to understand the meaning of this bhajan, and that it is not the dogs outside that are barking, it is the dogs inside that we have to stop listening to. And we have to follow the elephant inside us and stop listening to the dogs, you know, all the noise. Stop that. Just listen to your focus. Listen to your silence. The elephant walks silently. It's the dog that makes the noise. Stop listening to that noise. Listen to the silence. That's what it really means. So let me sing that little bit for you.
Absolutely.
तू तो राम सुमेर जग लड़वा दे, तू तो राम सुमेर जग लड़वा दे, लड़वा दे जग लड़वा दे, तू तो राम सुमेर जग लड़वा दे। हाथी चलत अपने गत मोह, हाथी चलत अपने गत मोह, कुकुर भुकतवा को भुकवा दे, तू तो राम सुमेर जग लड़वा दे, तू तो राम सुमेर जग लड़वा दे। कोरा कागज कारी स्याही, लिखत पढ़त वाको पढ़वा दे, तू तो राम सुमेर जग लड़वा दे, तू तो राम सुमेर जग, राम सुमेर जग, राम सुमेर जग लड़वा दे।
So that was so beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. And
thank you, Gaurang. And Gaurang, you are also inspiring a lot of young students, and with your hard work, with your dynamic, and with your good ethics, I'm very, very happy and very proud of you. You keep up the good work and inspire many, many people to do good work also.
Thank you so much, sir. Your blessings are one of the most important things for me. On this note, thank you so much, dear participants, for joining us. And we would like to thank Synergy, HMP, Other Song, Dr. Sankaran's clinic, and the whole team here who has helped us organize this session. And also special thanks to Dr. Mamta as well. I think this book, you can put it again, Dr. Mamta, please, the book cover. you could put up the book cover again, please. Yes, this is the book that Sir spoke about, Dog Yogi Banyan Tree. It's a phenomenal book where he's actually the entire story about his life and the people he met is put up. So it's something that you should read as well. So that's about it from my side. Thank you. It's a pleasure. I hope we can do this more often with more homeopaths. And you write to us what you feel about all of this. Thank you.